On Sunday, I told you about the Israeli official that was arrested in Nevada for child trafficking, who was arrested, but then was released and fled to Israel. We now have more information about that particular story that you guys need to see, because this is some crazy stuff. Check this out. Acting U.S. Attorney for Nevada, who decided not to prosecute Tom Alexandrovich and let him free, is Israeli-born Sigal Chattah. She was appointed by Trump. Tom is Netanyahu's cyber chief. He was arrested and charged and jailed in Vegas in a child predator sting, then sent to Israel free alongside with 8 others. So the woman here on the left, that's the attorney general in Nevada. She's Israeli. So she had her hand in this as well. When I covered this story on Sunday, we didn't have this part of the information, but more continues to come out about the story. So she protected him, and she's not the only one. Now, you know, we covered this a while back, that Israel has become like a known place for pedophiles. That was reported by CBS years ago, way before October 7th. So she let him go. And there's a little bit more. I want to get into this again. Shout out to that damn squirrel. Z Squirrel is on it. Z Squirrel finds everything. This is really astonishing. Israeli Zionist Sigal Chattah, who was recently made U.S. Attorney for Nevada by Trump, despite over 100 judges saying she is a deranged freak who only cares about her precious Israel, deleted her personal account and is now using her government account to shamelessly deflect and lie about letting free the top Israeli intelligence official who was caught in a sting operation trying to sexually assault children with 8 others. The only one out of the 8 who was let go after the Israeli government phoned the FBI in Chattah to demand his immediate release. So here's the other part. She's trying to blame this all on a liberal. Watch this. So she deleted her personal accounts, and now she is tweeting from her U.S. attorney account. A liberal district judge and state court judge in Nevada failed to require an alleged child molester to surrender his passport, which allowed him to flee our country. The attorney general, Pam Bondi, just called me outrage, and she also called the FBI director Kosh. The individual who fled our country should have had his passport seized by the state authorities. He must be returned immediately to face justice. So this was after people came after her that she made this statement, right? Notice she doesn't mention his name, even though the arrest record is public. And there's more. Check this out. Again, shout out to the squirrel. Just to repeat, a sting operation by the FBI and local police in Las Vegas caught an Israeli top intel official with 7 others trying to sexually assault American children. The Israeli regime called Israeli Sigal Chattah to demand his release, and he was let go. Let me highlight this again. The Israeli regime contacted her and demanded his release, and he was let go. So the tweet that she posted, that was just a lie, her trying to cover her ass because she got outed. She was exposed, which is why she deleted her other Twitter account, her personal one. She can't delete this one. If you're a politician, you can't delete your political account. You can't block people from the political account either. So do you guys see, like, when I say just how much control Israel has on our government, do you see what I was talking about? So I always question when I see people pointing fingers at all the, you got to be going after power. You got to challenge, look at the power. Look at who's in power. Who's really making these decisions? Now, this is wild because this whole thing It is causing an outrage. Like MAGA is upset because this happened. MAGA erupts after Israeli official charged in child sex ring. Let me come back here. Flees. So let's get into this a little bit here. Also, of course, Marjorie Taylor Greene is one of the ones that has been vocal against this. MAGA is pushing the Trump administration to explain why an Israeli official who was arrested in an undercover child sex sting in Nevada was allowed to leave the U.S. after posting bail. Yeah, people should be asking these questions, man. I don't know. Like, this is what I was talking about. And I don't know why, but with Axios, they never make it to where you can enlarge this the right way. But it says that the outrage marks the latest fissure between Israel and MAGA, which already faces a generational divide over how much the U.S. should support Israel amid the war and humanitarian crisis. So and it goes into that he was a senior Israeli cybersecurity official. And that's another thing. He worked for cybersecurity. Wait till I tell you what he was here doing. Aside from that, wait till I tell you what else he was here for. See, this is what I'm saying, man. This is getting crazy. Tom, he posted a $10,000 bail without appearing before a judge and quickly fled to Israel. A $10,000 bail. But you have people here who get like $100,000 bail, who don't do anything near like what he was trying to do. He was going after children. They let him go. It goes on to say here, Clark County District Attorney Steve Wolfson told the Las Vegas Review-Journal that the handling of the case was standard and the State Department denied that the U.S. government intervened. But I got proof to show that's not the case. We got proof to show that's not the case. Listen to this. MAGA influencers are up in arms, demanding the Trump administration push Israel for his swift extradition to the U.S. to stand trial. So there's a lot happening here, but the U.S. did intervene. They absolutely did. And you need to see who he was here meeting with. So shout out to Max for this one. Tom Alexandrovich, accused Israeli child sex predator who fled the U.S., had meetings with the FBI and the NSA officials during and after the Black Hat cybersecurity conference. Here is the text. Alexandrov stated he was meeting with the NSA tomorrow and had met several Bureau people and NSA people over the past week. Alexandrov described the Bureau agents as one white guy who was tall and bald and one black guy. Alexandrov stated he was at the conference to learn. He also stated he was in the U.S. approximately 3 months ago for a cryptocurrency conference in New York City. Ladies and gentlemen, so an Israeli that works in cyber security was here in the U.S. meeting with the NSA and the FBI. Nobody seems to think the U.S. was involved in this. Well, they were. In fact, you'll see this here. Even Grok, this is funny. Grok is the AI tool on X. Even Grok says it. Yes, reports confirm Trump intervened at Israel's request to release Tom, arrested in the U.S. child predator sting, allowing his swift return despite felony charges. Grok comes in as like AI tool. It comes in to correct this, right? So they came in, but here's also the proof here. Just in, the Trump administration directly intervened at Israel's request to release Israeli cybersecurity official Tom Alexandrovich, charged with sex crimes against children, and give him a safe passage to Israel. Here's the text. Here, as you can see, I have now confirmed with officers involved in the sting that Trump administration personally intervened at Israel's request to override U.S. law enforcement, including their own federal agents involved in the sting, to make sure that Alexandrovich got back to Israel quickly and safely. And meanwhile, they have your attention directed in all these different directions. You got this possible war with Venezuela, the National Guard coming into DC. At the same time, the Trump administration is protecting child predators and allowing them to flee to Israel because Israel told them to. That's not America first. That's definitely not God first or Christian like. This is very and at the bottom here, it says, the officers told me they couldn't believe it. They had worked for weeks with the FBI, Homeland Security, and the Nevada Internet Crimes Against Children Task Force to run this sting. They caught Alexandrovich red-handed. They booked him, charged him, and logged him into the Henderson County system like every other suspect. And then, despite the Trump administration itself authorizing the sting, Trump's own team stepped in and blew up their work. They expedited his release and return to Israel. They expedited his release, but they got the National Guard marching into DC to come after you. That was all a distraction. This is what I was trying to tell people. Sending in the National Guard, taking over the police in DC, all those things, going after people who are sitting on the steps smoking cigarettes and asking them, are you smoking weed? That is all a distraction. They're not going after these people. They actually had this guy arrested and captured, but they let him go because Israel told them to. I think Nico did a really good job getting into this as well. I want to show you what Nico said. It's really insane when you think about it, guys, but this is what's been happening. And that's why I try to tell you, focus on power. Who is in power? Stop pointing your fingers at other people who are poor, people who are working class. Stop pointing your fingers at those people. Look at what's going on with the people who are in power. The same people who sat up there and told you, protect the children. We got to care about the children. Just let this guy go free because Israel told them to. Crazy days.
There are new disturbing revelations in this felony Pedo case involving the executive director of Israel's cybersecurity directorate, and almost no one in mainstream media is talking about. So if you've never heard about this, just know an Israeli official handpicked by Netanyahu got caught in a sting operation that caught several pedos using a computer to solicit sex from minors. Guys, this is a huge story. Every mainstream media outlet should be covering it, especially after the revelations that came out recently. For example, Israel came out and said that Tom was not arrested, but instead detained, and that he returned to Israel on a scheduled date, leaving out some important facts. Tom was not detained. He was, in fact, arrested and given a $10,000 bail bond. There is a significant difference between detained and arrested, especially when you are given bail and released on bail, because that usually means you have a court date. And Tom does have a court date in a week, and yet was still allowed to return back to Israel.
But they coming after you guys. They on the street targeting everybody else. They're out there telling people, oh, we got to crack down in DC and get the crime out of here and yada, yada. But they let this guy go free. A guy who they caught committing a crime, a serious crime.
So the logical question in a felony case involving soliciting sex from a minor would be, which federal official do we hold accountable for allowing this man to post bail while leaving the country as a flight risk? Well, actually, it wasn't a federal judge that made that decision. It was a district judge, Barbara Shafalakwa, who allowed him to post bail and leave the country. Yeah, some of y'all are somewhat confused. Your confusion is justified. Because why the hell would a district judge be making that decision? Enter Israeli-born U.S. Attorney of Nevada, Chattah.
I'm Chattah, an Israeli-born lawyer running to be America's #1 conservative attorney general.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, you heard that right. Israeli-born. I'm sure there's no conflict of interest there. Chattah's office put out a statement last week saying that Alexandrovich was arrested in Nevada Internet Crimes Against Children joint operation. He was booked into the Henderson Detention Center. This important multi-agency operation that targeted child sex predators who preyed upon the most vulnerable members of our community. And as a result of the operation, the Clark County District Attorney's Office is handling the prosecution. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, somehow, in a statement, Chattah puts out acknowledging that all of these federal agencies were involved in an operation that led to felony charges. And her conclusion was, so we're going to kick this shit down to the DA's office. Now, a U.S. attorney would only kick a case down to the DA's office if it was non-federal, non-felonious, wasn't a big deal, or sometimes with resource constraints. Now, this case obviously doesn't fall into any of those categories, and to conduct an operation like this, the U.S. attorney would have to be involved. In other words, this should have never been kicked down. And Chattah is even aware of this. Because when people put two and two together and started calling her out on X, literally yesterday on August 19th, Chattah deleted her personal X account. But
Yes. And there's more there. You follow Nico here on Hotspot, but this is a very damning story, and a lot of corporate media outlets are pretending that this didn't even just happen. Axios covered it. I think The Guardian may have covered it a little bit, but people need to pay attention to what is going on around here, and then you wonder why I talk about Israel, because I'm focusing on where the power is. You see the things that are happening right in front of you. Just like that. And there will be more distractions that will come your way. There will be more distractions that will come your way so that you're not focusing on things like this. We'll let Nico finish up here.
We shouldn't at all be surprised at the way she mishandled this case, considering that over 100 judges, in a bipartisan effort, guys, came together to say that she was unfit for office just 3 weeks ago. And the sting operation happened 2 weeks ago. 116 judges said that she was unfit for office, and then she literally goes on to prove them correct. And no one in the mainstream media thinks this is a big deal. Better yet, no one in the federal government, no one in the Department of Justice thinks that this is a miscarriage of justice. Do y'all really in your heart and soul believe that Tom Alexandrovich is going to return to the U.S. in a week to appear in court for a case where he will undoubtedly be found guilty? Fuck no, he ain't coming back. And that's exactly why Chattah kicked this down to the districts. She wanted to be as far away from the decision-making process involving this case as possible, because she knows she would have to prosecute an Israeli official. And we know Zionists don't like holding each other accountable. That's a no-no in the Zionist community. So yet again, another pedo gets to flee from the United States mid-investigation and hide out in Israel.
And here we go again. So, yeah, this story definitely needs more attention, and more people need to talk about it. So when I say that this means war, I'm just thinking about all the people who were locked up for lesser charges, and did not get even a $10,000 bail. They received, a heftier fine. I'm just thinking about those people. We can go to part 3 here, Eric. I'm thinking about those people. I'm thinking about the people who, the justice system is never there in their favor. And this guy, like, literally got the Trump administration to get him out of this. It's insane when you think about it. It's insane. And it's sad. And parents, listen, I know I don't have kids, and I'm usually not the one to say, look over people's shoulder or whatever, but it may not be a bad idea to try to see who your kid is talking to online, or ask them who are they talking to online. I don't know. You guys know this stuff like better than me, but this is very, it's scary. It's disturbing. And what makes it worse is that they got him and they let it go. So the reality is the Trump administration is protecting now combine it with Epstein. We got the Epstein file. Oh, we ain't got no Epstein files. Oh, there's nothing there. There's nothing to see there. And then they just let this guy go. Wake up, America. Wake up. Hey guys, this was a Sabby clip. If you like what you saw, hit that like button and subscribe.